agus fáilte go trí seascad in program ag BBC Alba a bhí sa chuúr frostbeg na scíalchan íontach an Salesforce don bhán an Alba. Is me Iona Ballantyne agus ha mé ar gáid glan fáilte chuúr cluicheadair agus ofcur lesaí áirí Hibernian Joelle Murray an stiùidio in Teachtainsa. Program na héiche nach, Géibh sin na neachgus uair a bhó Joelle na hair a bhí dólaigh Hibs an t-seachdain-sa, Cáirtí sin arás na geamaichean Champions League ag Rangers agus Glasgow City, Inse cluicheadair Ayr United Rachel Scott goin muintlí éiche go Ball-Coise, agus ha Mikayla Parton a gíise goin cuideachd rothaireachd bheinne Cuideachd. Joelle, welcome back to 360.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We are into the season now. It's been a bit of a mixed kind of bag for Hibs so far this season. How are you guys feeling as a team?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It has been a mixed bag. We started with a kind of awful result against Celtic. I think Dean touched upon that result and spoke about it potentially coming too soon, but for me, we didn't perform the basics in that game, and then we get Hamilton, we play well, we play better in that game, and then we're on a high kind of going into the Motherwell game, and then we get the defeat. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster few weeks for us.
Can you pinpoint what's kind of gone wrong in the two games that you really didn't want to lose as you did, or is it just a case of still needing time for the team to come together?
Yeah, I think Celtic was always going to be a tough opener. Celtic are a very kind of well-oiled driven team. We only had 4 or 5 players arrive on the Tuesday of that week. But for me, like I said, we don't want to make any excuses. We can't justify that result, absolutely not. We needed to be better. And again, for the game against Motherwell, we were probably the dominant team, but we didn't capitalise on the possession we had, and unfortunately we conceded the 3 goals that ultimately meant that we came away with the defeat. How
do you come away from that and regroup and refocus for your next game?
Yeah, it's tough because you get a high after the Hamilton game, and then quickly comes a low against Motherwell. So we just need to learn from the first few games, kind of park it and just regroup and refocus and kick on for the upcoming game against Dundee United.
And for you, you've been with this Hibs team for so long, you're not used to results like these. What do you kind of say even to the younger players who are coming through and coming in that actually know this is not the Hibernian that I know, we are much better than this? Yeah,
of course it's difficult because for me, I've been at the club for a number of seasons now, and I've been so used to being part of a successful Hibs team. So I was always aware that it was going to be a bit transitional, especially with the kind of investment elsewhere, the recruitment elsewhere. But for me, we need to be better than what we've shown, and it's just drawn upon kind of my experience and providing any kind of feedback and some sort of advice to the younger players, and kind of picking them up when they need picked up, and giving them a pat on the back when they need a pat on the back.
And what about for the players who have come in, because obviously so many of the teams in SWPL1, there's been so much movement, so the squad does look different this season for Hibs as well. How are they kind of settling in, and how are you feeling as a team?
Yeah, I think we've probably had about 50% of new players coming into the squad this season. So like you said, a lot of transition, and transition takes time. We're probably still not fully kind of settled in and bedded in as a collective group, but there are kind of positives shown over the last few days, and I think it will probably take another couple of weeks before we see the best of the quality within the Hibs side.
We are midway through the week. How are the team feeling now, obviously, about your next game coming up?
We're feeling positive. We've got a confidence within the group. We're not arrogant, but we do believe in our abilities. Obviously Monday was a sore one, but like I said, we can't dwell on it. We need to park it, learn from it, and move on, and take those kind of learning experiences across the last few weeks into the weekend's game.
You do have a new home for Hibs at Meadowbank. How are you guys settling in there?
Yeah, great. It's a fantastic facility. It's a new facility. I think it's been a long time coming, because I think the old Meadowbank got demolished in 2019. So we've been anticipating the opening for some time, but it's a fantastic facility. It's of course in the shadows of Easter Road, so being back in the city of Edinburgh is great, and I think you can see that in the attendances of the last 2 weeks. I think we've had 300 plus attend the games, so it's a great facility to come and watch a game of football. Between Meadowbank and Easter Road, you're never away from that side of Edinburgh. I know, I think I'm in one of the facilities more than I am at home at the moment, so yes, it's pretty good that both facilities are good facilities to be in. If we come away from the SWPL one quickly, although kind of remaining with it with Glasgow City and Rangers, they were in Champions League action. Two very different results. Rangers obviously progressing to the next round, which is an amazing achievement. It is, considering it's their first time in the kind of competition. But I always knew Rangers were going into that kind of mini group stage strongly. They've recruited well again this season. They've got a strong squad of quality, experienced international players, and I knew that they would kind of come away with the wins from both games, given that they've got the quality within the squad that they do. They must have that real confidence just now in the league and also in Europe now, going ahead. Yeah, they went into the European games on the back of a few good results in the league. That obviously breeds confidence. It gives them momentum, and they're extremely dominant in the league at the moment. You can see that in their score lines, and they just don't stop at the moment. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they get in the next round of that competition and see how far they go, because that can only be good for the women's game in Scotland. On the other side of things, we've got Glasgow City. That will be so disappointing for them, not progressing past and making it to the next round. Again, a team not used to that at all. Yeah, of course. Glasgow City have been a dominant force in the Champions League for the last few seasons, so they will be bitterly disappointed about kind of being knocked out at this stage. I felt for them across both games, but more so the Servette game, because with that goal coming so late, they probably would have wanted to go out of the competition on somewhat of a high, and with that goal coming so late, it probably deflated them. How will they then pick themselves up after that? Do you think they're a team that can just keep head down, write it off, on to the next game? Absolutely. I think Glasgow City have got a history of providing and showing that mentality. They get themselves up and they go again, and they certainly will have to do that. They've obviously got a midweek game this week and a game at the weekend, and I'm sure we'll see them back to winning ways. The fun that never stops, does it? It certainly doesn't. Thank you. Well, in Talmanis, Cluinnidh will cluicheadair na bliadhna and a Lìg Ball-Coise an ban in Alba, Rachel Scott. Tan cluicheadair ag Ayr United, son agol cho fat sgitheadh agam, agus an am roin chuideolalas rishana yinilach. Bachan garage, halshinia session trenig, son fachgal ein Rachel.
Fa fes riamh Rachel Scott, gynnwys an-dràsta lentyn an sports. As jay sad vahis and in badminton is Ball-Coise for ois og.
Well, it started when I was young, round about the age of 6. I saw my brothers in the garden. They were having a kickabout and I thought I'd join in. Tried it, loved it, and never looked back really. I did try other sports at school, so tried badminton. Actually ended up going to China for the badminton championships in 2013, but nothing compared to football. I knew football was the one for me.
Nuair a rain Rachel a hén sin suas, gus fócus a chuir Ball-Coise, cha batig roi trícha cluich for ois naich, agus a lesach go gemme le cluicheadair and an siúideach ara jace.
I was 9 when I joined drugging, and I moved to Prestwick when I was 11. I was there for a couple of years. That got formed into South Ayrshire Girls. Again, that was a couple of seasons, and then they actually get formed into Ayr United. So when I was about 13, 14, Ayr United was a set up, and when I was about 16 or 17, now we won the league, beating Kelly 5-2, so always a bonus in the Ayrshire derby, so brilliant. Always been at the ladies since I was about 16, never went through the age groups really, so it's been good getting some experience from the older girls.
Sal na Ayr United for an bíag an Cormac Rachel a gobar le príomh choitichen, agus innse bhfuil cluicheadair na stiùidio spórs. Rud a bhfuil bhí an cánaí tangle son.
I have developed quite a bit, but again, that's down to the training and the girls that are there in the team. So brilliant setup. So we have it goes from the under 8s right up to the ladies. So it means every girl is getting a chance to progress and have the same opportunities to play football within the academy as well. So we've just got a new coaching staff in fact, and the training's at an even higher standard than it was before. And the girls that are there are a great bunch of girls. Wouldn't have any other teammates on the pitch with me, if I'm honest.
Ans an taisen me dhearg chuir Rachel 3 fichitas 3 tuil son a clubbe. Ais haidjin bheach get the ha mór an bhuagannaich geri horstan skippe. Nach Bruidhinnidh gheanú as eunish an skippe go léir.
Well, scoring is one, I would say. It's got to be there. So, but definitely being able to hold the ball up as well, let the girls come forward and support me. I'm really strong in the ball, I would say, and my speed is what gets me through the defenders to get those goals. Football's a team game, so if it wasn't for the girls, this wouldn't have been possible. Like, you can't do it yourself, so definitely the girls are a great bunch as well. And if it wasn't for the team, then definitely wouldn't be where I am now. Practice, training as well. Always practicing. If you want to be the best, you've got to keep training.
Ga na hemmach teilig ge ainmeachadh ag duaisean Ball-Coise an Alba. Far an deach Rachel ainmeachadh son cluicheadair Ball-Coise bliadhna san Lìg Ball-Coise is bheinne seo.
Oh, I was speechless. I was actually walking home from work with my partner Jack at the time when I got a message from Cuideachd, who's the head of the Women's Academy, saying I'd been nominated, and honestly I was speechless. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was just thinking, is this even real? Like, someone like me from down here going up for an award is just an achievement in itself to get nominated. I had my mum, my sister, my partner, the management team there. To see my mum getting emotional was emotional for me as well, because she knows how hard I've worked to put the effort and time into this game, because it's something I love. And also to see my family very supportive and encouraging and know that I can make a career out of this is very special to me, and it's probably the best moment of my career so far, winning that. But like I said, to be nominated was an achievement, but to win it is the best moment. So.
Cha nearly told you Libby Jill Cluicheadair Fitch. Ha Rachel Cuideachd and Gal Oigria Cuideachd san Mikalya Parton aghaidh. Libby coach of Ayr United.
Coach with Ayr, so all about the Ayr then, I say. So I'm a community coach, so I work within the community within Ayr. So that's going into like schools around Ayr. I do disability groups as well, after school programmes, and recently we've started doing a Disney Playmakers, and that one's really important to me because that's getting girls involved in football through storytelling with Disney. And the amount of girls that we've had for the past 2 blocks that we've had are now in Ayr United, so it's good to see that actually this can help the younger ones get into football at a young age. When I was a kid, I didn't have those opportunities to go out and experience what it was like, so I had to work for myself. So to see that those children are now getting opportunities through their local communities is absolutely amazing. When I was in school, actually, I started coaching in 4th year, and I ended up coaching the S1 to S3 girls football team. After that, I then went to Ayr College in Cuideachd and studied HNC and HND sports coaching, and now I'm with Ayr United.
Asher Fitch, ha Rachel Dogesil son dríoch fatte is sarvachil aan te yemme. I see a gamis go hard.
Hopefully just developing more as a player. Like I said, there's some people on my team that have got great experience, so learning from the best is maybe one of the things. Don't know, maybe Scotland squad maybe. Maybe I'm dreaming too big, but you can never dream too big here.
Joelle, what a great young player and so much passion for the game.
So much passion for the game, not just for the game, but for Ayr United. It seems like Ayr United is ingrained in her.
And an absolute goal machine. I'm sure many teams in other leagues will be thinking, hey, we could do with a Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely. She spoke very highly, and quite rightly so, of her 63 goals last season, and she seems like she's a very kind of powerful, strong, prolific goal scorer.
How nice is it for you to see other players like Rachel in totally different teams, totally different leagues, but actually just so passionate about the game?
It's fantastic. It's great to hear someone like Rachel who like I said, is so kind of passionate, speaks so passionate about Ayr United. She's been part of the setup there from such a young age, and she's not only a player there, she coaches, and she's just a fantastic ambassador for the club.
you can probably pick up a lot of similarities with you in terms of just being so involved with the team, like you were just saying there about the coaching. That's what you do alongside playing and alongside your job as well. And also you can see it with all of the different roles that actually Rachel's since taken on. Yeah,
absolutely. There's so many kind of relatable things. When I was watching that feature there were so many relatable things that I could see in myself and seeing kind of my journey to where I am at the moment. So like I said, it's great to see that you've got young players so passionate about the game, but not only playing the game but coaching in the game and giving something back. She spoke about her kind of passion for the Disney programme at the grassroots level and providing those opportunities for young girls to kind of enter the game at that age is incredible.
I was just going to pick up on that. How important is it to have people like Rachel who, even like she said, volunteer their own time to coach and give back to other people who might not have had that opportunity otherwise?
It's so important because I think at that age, at that level, you don't kind of really see the bigger picture, but that generation is the future. It's the future of the girls and women's game, and for me, kind of relating to my experiences, there was never any opportunity like that when I was younger, so it's fantastic to see so many opportunities, not just the Disney programme, but so many opportunities across the game now.
For someone like Rachel and yourself, how do you balance all of these things that go on? Do you have a personal life outside of this?
Probably don't balance it as well as I should, but probably similar to Rachel, when you've got a passion for the club that you play for and you work for, it just becomes easy. It becomes something that's natural and instinctive. So for me, I probably don't have the balance that I should, but I do it because I love the club and I want to progress the club and take it forward, and I'm sure Rachel thinks the same.
I was going to say, a lot of the time it probably doesn't feel like work.
No, it doesn't. I always say that I've got a cheek walking into Easter Road every day and calling it work, because I absolutely love what I do.
And even for Rachel in the championship, that is another league that is very competitive. Someone like her and Ayr United, they'll be looking at SWPL 1 and 2 and thinking, right, that's where I want to be. Even getting up into SWPL 2 would be a huge step.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that league, that environment this season will be very competitive. I think you'll see a lot of teams kind of beating each other. You've got Livingston in there, you've got Rossvale in there, very, very strong and competitive teams, so it'll be interesting to see how that league plays out.
What about even, are you seeing a big jump in SWPL 2 and SWPL 1? Obviously Aberdeen, they've been up for a while now, but a team like Glasgow Women coming up from SWPL 2, do you think there's still a gap there to really close? Because it can be tough at the top.
Yeah, it can. I think there is a small gap, and it's tough on teams that come up and get promoted, because I'm aware and appreciate that I think a lot or a few of Glasgow Women's kind of better players kind of exited the club after promotion and went elsewhere. So when you have that transition and you lose your better players, you're always going to be on the back foot anyway. But like you said, touched upon Aberdeen, they're in the league, they've consolidated their position in the PL1, and they're a fantastic team. You've got Dundee United who have come up and have shown their strengths. So I think the teams that come up initially might find it hard, but will find their feet and kick on from there.
We do also have the relegation spot this season, which we haven't had in SWPL 1 for a while. That will be a battle down at the bottom of the table too, because nobody will want to go back down to SWPL 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the luxury last season of not having that relegation, but like you said, it's back this season. I think we've now even got the split, so if you find yourself in that bottom six, it will be a scrap till the very, very end of the season.
Because those games and those teams in the middle and lower of the table, like you say, they're competitive games and often very close.
Absolutely, and I think out with the kind of top maybe 3 teams, you'll see quite similar to the championship, a lot of teams beating each other week to week, and a lot of transition in league positions throughout the season.
Back to those top 3, how even do you see that going this season? It will be another probably tough battle up there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very, very close last season, and I think we'll see the same again this season. Obviously, there's been increased investment, increased recruitment across all three teams, so they'll be facing the same transition as we have, as has every other club. But yeah, I think it will be a very, very competitive kind of top end of the table again this season.
Plenty of silverware on offer again. How important is it for even Hibernian? Do you still have your sights set, right? We still can do this.
Absolutely, and I think for us, we need to be realistic in our goals and ambitions. So for us, we want to be better than last season. We want to break into the top three. We want to be better in the cup competitions. So as long as we achieve that, I think we'll be on the right trajectory.
Well, it will be very interesting to see how all of this pans out.
It will indeed.
Now, Luis Mikayla Parton van a lehead in sgitheadh go rothaireachd bheinne is 8 bliana díag. Agus van san a ghearist in a haidh, vai furas a gí trenna go tríoch in a haidh farpis ag an iris áirte in a cúiseaniona seair an til.
Geamaichean bheinne Mikayla Parton tar Bruidhinnidh is an fine chun in ide Hibernian Joelle Murray. A siúidio táiseach amach ainmeachadh and spars.
So I was just leaving school, so I would have been about 18, and my wee brother was getting into mountain biking because it's really popular in Fort William, but I just didn't realise this. And then I kind of just was intrigued by it, and I kind of went along. And I was just borrowing a bike, and I don't even remember being like, right, I want to do this. It just happened. Like, I just started going out riding more, and I've always been into kind of like adrenaline kind of sports. And I think because I skied at a high level, I picked up the sport like quite quickly because I already had the balance and the understanding, and like I already knew like I'd like to go fast and stuff like that. So I just kind of naturally progressed, and within like a year, I got a downhill bike and I started racing, and it kind of just went from there. I definitely never started racing in the thought of like, I want to do this because I want to make money or like anything like that, or even like to do it as my job. Like, it never really, I guess I maybe at the time didn't believe in myself enough I could actually do that. So I was just doing it alongside working. I was working still as a ski instructor, but also on like a high ropes course at Nevis Range. And then just like racing when I could and riding as much as I could. And I did that for ages. And I even started racing World Cup still working full time, which was hard because I obviously wanted to train like the athletes that race the World Cups, but I didn't have the time for it. So then to now be like full time, I'm just so grateful that I've got supporters and sponsors that are letting me do that. And yeah, it's great.
Bei 2009 go chéad héan farpaseach ag Mikayla, agus dúsaí tar é táiseach na héan aiche an na 2000 is fichiid sa hyn.
So the first season for like World Cup racing was in 2019, which in terms of seasons wasn't that long ago because 2020 we didn't have a season because of COVID. So 2021 was actually my first full season as well. So 2019 was a great year, but also just like such a big learning curve for me. Like, it was really hard. I was traveling mostly on my own, and I was still like young, and I didn't have a clue what was going on. I like was turning up to World Cups not knowing. It's not like the same as turning up to a Scottish round. It was really, really hard, and like there was moments where I was kind of like, I can't do this. Like, this is just so difficult, and I don't think like not everyone kind of goes through that stage because other people might have like parents that take them to the races, or they might already be in a team at that time. So I had never been a junior either, so like I kind of went straight into elite. And yeah, it was, I don't think I actually qualified. I didn't qualify once in 2019. I went to the races, but I think I did 5 of them, but I didn't qualify. But I just tried my hardest, and then had almost the whole of 2020 off racing because of COVID, but then rode my bike as much as I ever have, and it really helped me.
Chríochnaigh Mikayla san coimheadaidh ag farpas na Cuinnidh san Oster an na 2000 is fichiid. Aber leis go raibh sinna chéad rééis a bhaiche an bliadhna sin.
obviously that was the first time I'd raced in 2020 and that was in like October. So usually that's the end of the season and we didn't race all summer. I actually left in March 2020 to go to a World Cup, and my flight and the race got cancelled on the way because of COVID. And then that was it. Once I went home, we went into lockdown. So like I ended up, because I wasn't working, I ended up like riding my bike probably as much as I ever have, and I had a home gym, and it was obviously a really awful time, but I just tried to do what I could in that time, and I improved so much over that summer. And then I obviously went away in October, race, and I just couldn't believe I'd come 5th, because I'd come off the back of 2019, I'd never even qualified, so it was a bit mental. And then I went into 2 other World Cups which were good too, and yeah, it was just a crazy time.
Huad Mikayla Cormarpish ag cúpana Cuideachd sa dachi an sgitheadh na paraidd the bliadhna, a cluicheadair sa noch gavárte. Hainus de fás gama cínteach an na còmhla ag geamaichean.
So good, finally, like, because it kept getting cancelled because of COVID, and like 2020 we obviously knew wasn't going to happen, but 2021 I thought it would, and it didn't. So it was so nice to finally like have that experience, although because it was cancelled for 2 years, almost the pressure build up was like so much. Just coming into the race, like I'm actually really proud of how I dealt with it, because there was a lot of pressure, one with it being my home race, because a lot of people have their home race which is just their country. Like I live in Fort William, so it was literally my home race, and like all my family and friends are there, and it was like quite hard at first to, I almost avoided like talking about it with people, because I was just like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, I'm just too nervous. But I dealt with it really well, and yeah, really pleased with my result. Yeah, so good. I started off really well. Like it's always really hard after an off season to come into the first World Cup and just not know where you're going to be. Like the first qualifying run, I was so nervous, and I qualified 10th, and I was just so happy. Like I couldn't believe, and then I followed up with placing 11th in the final, and I was just so happy with that, because it just confirmed that like I am training, it's working, like I deserve to be here. Because definitely coming into the sport later, I have struggled a lot with kind of confidence and wondering if I should be doing this, because it does still feel so like weird to be there, because I didn't grow up doing this. And I think that confirmed it for me, like no, I do deserve to be here. And then I followed it up with Fort William with an 8th place, and that was just so good. So yeah, really really good so far.
Ha Mikayla Mochtal I the thuaisean chaidh Cuideachd sa Driacht, agus is dewi gach buile is servachis, ha hada is on còmhla an na bhí leisachus and spars.
I think obviously I've got a lot more I want to achieve and do, and time left in the sport, but it depends on the day. I think if you ask me, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I'm in a bad mindset, but at the moment, yeah, I'm proud of how far I've come, and anyone close to me knows that like how hard it can be, and especially when you're not on like a full team, or finding the support, and also just like the highs and the lows of it, it can be really difficult. So yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with how I've gone. Obviously I'm a racer, I want good results, like, but I just really like to stay in the sport, like, and race, and if I can help anyone else too, that would be great. I just really want to get better, even better on my bike. Like, you can always improve, no one can't improve. So yeah, just hopefully keep improving and keep enjoying it.
Joelle, there are so many parts of Mikayla's story that I am so impressed with. I don't know about you, I can imagine it's the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just watching that feature there, and I'm so inspired now. Her kind of positivity was incredible.
I love anyone that can just throw themselves down a mountain. I think that's
yeah.
On a bike. There's so many. There's even the terrain. You don't know what you've got coming up. But yeah, she obviously loves the adrenaline and is doing really well at it.
Absolutely, and especially considering that she kind of into the sport at a kind of older age, and not been in the sport for so long. So to achieve what she has done up until this point is incredible.
Tell us, how hard would that actually be, coming to a new sport at 18 and then going full time with it?
Extremely hard. I can only kind of imagine how hard it would be. I mean, we speak about transferable skills from sport to sport, but doing that, it's such a kind of advanced age, you're kind of losing all those kind of little bits and pieces at the kind of early ages and stages of a sport. So to do that at aged 18 is so inspiring and remarkable.
And like she said, competing against people who have mountain biked their whole life and competed in the juniors, she didn't ever have that.
Yeah, bypass that age group completely, and again it just makes it even more remarkable, and her positivity is extremely inspiring, and she just seems like she has a great enthusiasm and passion for the sport, which is nice to see.
What about the mindset that's needed for that too? That can't be easy.
It can. You spoke about the difference in terrain. There's so many uncontrollables. I think you need to have a kind of a fearless kind of mindset and attitude, because some of the terrain and the kind of twists and turns, I was even kind of like taken aback. So yeah, I think the mindset, you need to be fully focused and have a kind of fearless attitude.
The other thing that comes into it is commitment, which I know you know all about. You have been committed to sport and football your whole life, and it's clear just how important that is.
Yeah, absolutely. She spoke about how during lockdown she wanted to turn that kind of negative situation into a positive, and she just wanted to get out on her bike, and I think that period of doing that really has shown on the back of it, considering our achievements since.
How frustrating must that have been? I mean, you know what it was like with lockdown, when you couldn't play, you couldn't train as you usually would, when things were halted, you finally got back playing again, and then the league was stopped. I mean, how frustrating for you as an athlete was that time?
It was really frustrating, and I think kind of comparing the situations there, I think for me I was probably kind of honing my skills, whereas she would have had to be kind of, or within a period of learning skills, but learning them herself, given that obviously the lockdown period was very kind of isolated and independent. So yeah, again, it's just such a remarkable kind of achievement. Especially
the fact that she'd only come to sport not long before lockdown actually happened. So she so could have easily taken that time being like, oh, whatever, I'll just leave it. But to actually use that time and keep going and come back stronger than ever and still competing is really impressive.
Yeah, it certainly is. Like you said, it's probably, it could have went one of two ways. She maybe could have thought, well, I'll not kind of persevere with that sport, but her kind of mindset, she seems like she's an extremely kind of outgoing, positive person anyway, and I think that mindset and attitude kind of contributed to how well she's doing now.
Mindset and attitude is so important. I was actually just going to ask you back to football. We all know this Hibernian has got so much more to offer this season. How do you kind of take that mindset and attitude and apply it on the pitch?
I think for us, we know, like I alluded to earlier, we know the performances that we've had to date haven't been good enough, and we have a belief and a confidence in the quality in the squad. So we need to learn from the mistakes, because I don't think you can ever kind of ignore them. They're learning experiences, good or bad, and take that forward into the next game. We never look beyond the next game. The next game's always the most important game.
And I know for you, you are kept very busy yourself with your new role. Could you just tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I've kind of transitioned over into the club now from the community foundation. So my new role is the youth development officer. So kind of engaging with the youth demographic of the club, in the hope that we inspire, we engage, and then that kind of grows your future fan group.
Because you know all about that. You've been there from the start, haven't you?
I have. I've been the 5-year-old in the stand at Easter Road, so I've kind of went full circle, so I can relate to the supporters as well.
You must have so many stories that you can take from your own personal experience and apply it to your job now.
Yeah, absolutely. From a kind of playing and a professional capacity, I can kind of relate to, like you said, my own experiences and draw upon them, good or bad, and implement them hopefully in a positive way.
What an exciting season ahead. Your new role, you're still playing with Hibs. Are you feeling good now with the season coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. We've, from a football perspective, we're fully integrated into the football club. From a professional perspective, like we spoke about my new role, and I think, albeit we've had a few kind of disappointing results, I'm sure that we'll pick things back up and there'll be positivity on the horizon.
You certainly will, Joelle. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us on 360. I am sure we will see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Well, sinna sanna nach gan a cheach gain bhí cluicheadair hockey cas Cuthbert Collarúm san stiúdio agus bíse torsú go barach scíalach brosachail fa sil spórs an ban an Alba. Cyn nuair sin Jen Cínseach go bhfuil se Ballantyne, BBC Alba agus Jenna Cínseach nach cáilse program san B. Císin sibh an ahuras.